So here's the new questions. Again, I skimmed these. I have not read them in detail. Feel free to join me in conversation if this is a game you're following. Nell says, hello, Palians. Thank you so much for everyone for sending questions over and for being patient. A few reminders. They had over 300 questions, so it was impossible for them to answer all of the questions. When she first created Discord, she envisioned it having at most 2,000, but then there's quite a bit over that. We have about 90,000 in the Discord, which is insane. It is important to us as students to give meaningful responses. They didn't want just to be a collection of we're not sharing those details yet. So let's talk a bit about why that might be the answer to some questions. The biggest one is that the game is still in pre-alpha, so some of these things are still in flux. They don't want to give the impression that these topics are already set in stone or confuse people into thinking a maybe is a definite. So some of these topics, for example, the one including monetization, are really complex discussions that merit their own standalone communication. The community's trust is an important thing for them, so they want to make sure that when they do talk about it, they're doing it in a transparent and honest way. Spoiler, they're not answering that question today. They're going to be making some adjustments on how they do the Q&As, given that the interest has far exceeded what they planned for. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. I don't know. We'll see what the best way for them to get that. Oh, so we are moving to a monthly format. This gives us the opportunity to involve more folks in the studio. We can focus on giving monthly answers to the questions. I haven't actually read this yet, so it's going to be monthly. I was hoping we could start a little weekly session here, but we might have to go to monthly if that's the only information we're getting. We'll see if I have enough material for this time next week. So the questions will open now, Thursday, remain open until June 24th, and then the next Q&A sessions will go live on July 8th. And so we do have a few weeks to wait for the next Q&A. So that's good to know. I'm trying to pull up my calendar to kind of see what that looks like. So bear with me, because I can't picture that in my head. So today's June 10th. So she's saying the questions will open today. So they'll be open for 2 weeks until the 24th. And then the question and answers will be on July 8th. So that's 2 weeks for us to give them the questions and 2 weeks for them to get back with us with the answers. So essentially, like she said, once a month having these. However, this isn't the only time we'll be sharing information about the game. Make sure you keep an eye out for art drops on Discord as well as reveals to the villagers on social media. So let's do that. I will go ahead and try to make Palia a standing Thursday show where we talk about whatever is coming out new. So 2 weeks from now, maybe I can pull together some of the questions that were asked and go over those. And then 2 weeks after, discuss answers to those questions, and then always be showing some of the art and other things. I do feel like this game deserves some attention, and so even though I have a small channel, I would love to give it whatever attention it can get and start discussions about anything people want to talk about too. There's plenty of good discussions going on in the Discord, but I think there can be more than one way to have those discussions. So I'm willing to have them on here with you guys. So the first question today was, what is the pre-alpha? The briefest explanation is that pre-alpha is a fully playable experience that has many of the initial launch features, but not all of them. It's also going to be under NDA, so there'll be no streams to the public. So if you're in that pre-alpha, you're not really allowed to talk to anybody about it. We know that pre-alpha is not the cozy experience of your dreams. They plan for it to be when we enter at launch. The main goal is testing and feedback. As such, testers should expect to run into crashes, bugs, experiences that are not at the level they need to be. Think of pre-alpha as an appetizer sampler from a new restaurant, except tasters get to tell the cooks which things they like best, which things they didn't like, and why. So definitely, pre-alpha is not just supposed to be a fun experience where you're just getting to get in the game first. It's supposed to be a place where you're jumping in the game, finding issues, and letting everyone know. If they have a crafting system and the crafting system is not something that you expected it to be, let's say it's boring or tiresome, you think that there's not enough feature to it, you respond and say crafting is not as fun as I thought it would be. So things like that. I do testing as my full-time job with an insurance company, and that's kind of when you get into a project early in like this, you're constantly going to be hitting issues that will kind of slow you down. So it's not like you might try to go get in the game the first day and you crash every time you get in, and it's just, that's the nature of the beast. So it's not necessarily, oh, I'm in the full game. It's testing as you're going along. So this second question kind of hit my heart a little bit, so let's talk about it. Will thousands or hundreds be let into the pre-alpha? They're going to invite 1,400 people from the player community. Oh my gosh, that's such a small number. I mean, it's not for them as a studio. It's a small number for the total interest level in the game. So, they set us up for context. 8 days ago, before they did this trailer, they talked about how they were hoping this little trailer from an unknown studio might bring in a few hundred signups. However, the response has blown them away. Now they have hundreds of thousands of signups for their little small pre-alpha test. So they're not scoped for that. So they will have many more tests leading up to launch. They expect to run more and more people as we go on. So do not expect, I'm just going to say this. Look, let's do the math. I'm going to stop here for a second. If you put yours in, they're letting in 1,400, and right now, just on the Discord alone, and there's going to be people that sent in applications that aren't on Discord, you have a 1.5% chance to get in. Like, and it's probably even less than that, because that's not even, so probably, we're talking like, it's going to be impossible. So, as much as I hate to say it, expect not to be in this first pre-alpha. I'm not expecting it. If I get it, I'm going to feel like what's his name, Peter from Willy Wonka, that I've received the golden ticket. Like, seriously, it's going to be that type of thing. So, please, 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 please do not be upset. Is there an estimated date of when the pre-alpha keys will be mailed out? There's no date to share. That's not the answer you want to hear. It's really important for them to build trust. There's a few more things they need to line up before they can narrow down the start date. They want to make sure that when they do share a date, it's one they're confident they can keep. Will account progress be reset? This is very typical. Yes, progress from the pre-alpha will not remain past the pre-alpha, so they are going to wipe all information clean. So if you're thinking you're going to get early and stockpile a ton of resources, those resources will be gone. What is expected of testers during pre-alpha? So you get selected, you're one of those 1,400. What do they expect you to do? They're encouraging you to expect lots of bugs and a lot of unpolished features. This is a very, very, very early look at the game. There's still a lot of work to do to get it to the cozy experience that dreams are made of. They also want their testers to be very vocal with our feedback. There will be some exclusive Discord channels on their server that you'll get to join. Whether you liked or disliked something, they want to know, because there's plenty of chances for them to make changes based on it. So like I said, if there's a feature that you were like, oh, like I thought it was going to be easier to decorate my house, but it's like the way that everything, you putting down a couch or something, and maybe it's hard to move the couch around, and you have a better solution for them or something. Monetization, the biggest word that starts fights in the Discord. This is by far the most asked question, and the question channel is where it's highly discussed topic. Been there, highly discussed throughout the server in general. She knows this isn't the answer everyone wants to hear, but she's going to be upfront. We're not ready to talk about it. So, more patience. Be sure to have that information as soon as you can. So do not expect yet or wait to find out yet how they're going to make money from this game. That's not something they're prepared to talk about. That'll be much later down. I have noticed, this is a good question, because a lot of people have been coming in community. I've noticed that you're being compelled by some to add PvP and elements of competitive play. There's also a fan narrative asserting that these elements will be present, but just not in the alpha. Can you please explain the vision in a way that provides clarity on this topic? So, thanks for the question. It's been a notable point of confusion in the community, so the key point like to address it today. The initial impression is correct. There is some nuance to the answer that can hopefully clarify a bit now. First off, the core vision and target experience for Palia centers around creating a collaborative, cozy, and safe multiplayer experience. An inherent part of providing that safety is that players know that they exist in a world largely devoid of physical, social, and emotional threats. As such, they feel the player versus player combat is antithetical to their core experimental goals. So additionally, this is an area that many great games they love have invested in deeply. And come on, we've been there. Almost every game in the market has a PvP element to it. And since it's not their core, they're unlikely to produce experience that measures up to player expectations, were we to divert our focus into this area as well. Having said that, they do believe that there will be some competitive play opportunities that can make sense in the world, in large part because they're kind of light-hearted, competitive experiences they expect to find amongst family or close friends. So, a Sunday afternoon card game can be cozy. Racing on the beach can still feel like a vacation. Additionally, many of our core systems ladder up quite naturally into an option for a little competitive play. I know I spend a lot of time with my family watching cooking competitions, and maybe you're eager to be recognized for your interior design skill. Regardless, the thing that will remain consistently true is that competition is not their core, and any competitive options they add will not impinge on the core game experience, and they will strive not to tempt you into engagement with the rewards. So I'm very happy to read this because there are a ton of PvP games out on the market. There are very few games that allow you just to come and chill with a community. So I think a lot of the people that may have initially been interested in this game may leave if they find out there's no combat and fighting and competing against other players. For me, this is a sigh of relief. It's something I'm very excited to hear. So I'm glad Aiden actually answered this one, even though this wasn't my question. And I'm happy with the answer that he gave. So this is about gathering resources. So imagine if you've gathered resources in a game and someone has stole what you just dropped. Imagine that scenario. So about gathering resources, will the object disappear after being gathered so that you actually have to camp the spot to harvest it before other players do it first? Or can you just harvest it and will it have a local cooldown for the player while other players can still harvest? So a core part of their goal is to make the multiplayer environment a collaborative one. A major part of that is how they address the various loot systems in the world that would otherwise turn them into a source of tension and competitive play. They have a wide variety of solutions they're continuously testing in that area, and upcoming playtests will help them assess where we're hitting those goals and where we need additional work. Suffice to say, friends and strangers are welcome. So I think he's saying, you're probably good on this. You don't have to worry so much about someone stealing your stuff. Will we need to eat or drink or sleep? Like, if you played The Sims, do I have needs? Hey Hayden, these activities are not strictly required, but they will all have a variety of benefits in the game that make for engaging, and professions like cooking have real worth. From an incentives perspective, these systems are oriented around having strong benefits for engaging with them over strong penalties for not. So it's not going to be something that's going to be detrimental to you. If you don't do it, it's going to be more. If you do it, it's going to help you in some way, which makes sense. I like it.